Today, we'll be taking off this door on the 66 Beetle, and we're going to be replacing the hinges. The reason we're doing this, because if you see this door, it closes on its own, it won't do it. It is sagging too far. And this one's hinges had already been popped open with some additional washers in order to mitigate the sag. So at this point, the hinges just need to be replaced. The first thing we're going to do is going to remove the door. For that, we need these 3 screws right here, and these 3 screws right here. Now they say that you need to use an impact screwdriver to get these off. I don't have one, so I use this. And just pull out all 6 of these screws. Be careful, because once you start pulling them out, the door is going to try and fall. So welcome back. I've gotten the door off and I've got it set up so you can see the rivets that we need to drill out. So these hinges are attached to the door by these giant rivets right here. There's 4 here. There's 2 here and 1 right here. You need to drill out all 3 of those and all 4 of these. Now what you need to do is start off with a relatively small drill bit, drill through it, and then work your way up to a bigger one until the head of the rivet pops out. So I have finished drilling out all 4 of these rivets, and I've already popped out these 3 right here. This one right here, if you look closely, you'll see I've drilled all the way through it. I drilled out its top and then went back to a smaller size drill bit and drilled all the way through it. And this one should just be able to pop right out. And off it went. Now you just do that to the other door, and in theory, depending on the amount of corrosion in here, this guy should just pop out. It's going to be a little tough, so we're going to lube it and let it sit overnight and return them all. Okay, now welcome back. Now, as you can see, we've let this sit a few days, mostly because it was raining yesterday, so I didn't want to do anything. This one comes out real quick and easy. Didn't require any lubrication or anything, just removal of the rivets. That thing came off. This one, we had a little bit of movement after letting that oil soak, and now all it really takes is a mallet. Just going to go ahead, tap this a couple times. I don't have my wife to hold the camera for me right now, so let's see if we can get this done. I'm currently holding the door down with my elbow. It is sitting on a copious amount of large bubble wrap, for those of you who are wondering. And now, just have at it. She is almost out. I think another good smack or two, she'll come out just fine. Ta-da! Now the hinges are out. Alright, that's the hard part. Okay, now, I've removed these hinges. I've had opportunity to examine them. This is the lower hinge. You should be able to see a little bit of give in that. Not too much. I could probably reuse this lower hinge just by putting in a oversized hinge pin. The top hinge, however, if you look in the bottom there, you see that is very chewed up. Very chewed up. And the amount of give I have here. Not sure if you can adequately see that. Here you can see it easier. That's a lot of give. A lot of wobble in that hinge. If nothing else, you should be able to see how much my hands are moving in this. This one, I could try an oversized hinge pin, but I would probably go to the second oversized hinge pin just cause. But even then, I'm not sure this one will be able to handle it. There's just so much give in this. But that's alright, because we're going to replace the hinges. Now we got the hinges waiting. But now we know where the problem was. Now, you're probably wondering how exactly I'm going to attach my hinges back to the door. Because those are really big rivets. And your average individual does not have a industrial size rivet setter. So that's out. The mechanics at dealerships were doing this back in the 50s and 60s, so don't fret about it. It will hold. All I do is I have a flathead, little countersunk bolt, a lock washer, and a nut. The lock washer and the nut just go inside the door and the bolt goes through it. In case you're wondering what exactly that's going to look like or how to put it in, this is what we got. I already have this one set in. This one I left everything still in place so you can see how it is I am attaching it. But it's very simply just a bolt shoved through the door or the outer door skin, through the hinge, through the inner door skin. And then I just put the lock washer and the nut on the inside. Not really much of a point in me showing you me doing that because you wouldn't be able to see anything. This is merely a fact of nimble fingers. And then got this fun little contraption. And I just tighten it. And that's it. Just make sure when you're doing the bottom hinge, you do these two first and then this one, because this one will get in the way of tightening down the other two. Now the top hinge is a little bit trickier because you can't actually just like stick in there like you can over here. But you'll find that if you remove these two bolts right here, the window regulator, which is normally in your way, drops out of the way, which will allow you to stick your hand back here, finagle it up, and thread your nuts and bolts onto the bolts. And I've got a little secret to make that a little easier. I super glue the washer to the nut. Typically it does not stay on there very long, but it stays on there long enough for me to start the threading. So I just take that, reach it under, and stick it onto the bolt, which you then just crank down. Then once all that's in, you just reach in there with your little wrench, stick it on, then crank it down from the outside, and then your hinge is on. Okay, now got those two put in, one up here put in, and these four all put in. These hinges have now been installed onto the door. Only thing that's left to do at this point is to put them back on the butt. And you're done.